Breaking news, David Benavidez is set to move up to light heavyweight, aka 175. Reports came out that David Benavidez is set to move up to light heavyweight for his next fight. And
do you believe you earned a shot at Canelo Alvarez tonight? What y'all think? Let me know, fans. Let me know. Puerto Rico!
Because he had a go. You know, he was firing till the end, and that was exactly the statement that we needed from Edgar. He's now WBA #1. He's the mandatory challenger for Canelo Alvarez. That fight's going to happen.
After David Benavidez recently decided to move up to the light heavyweight division to fight Alexander Gvozdyk, we have a new mandatory challenger. It looks like this particular fight could be on the cards on May 4th. We're talking about Edgar Berlanga, who recently defeated the Irishman Padraig McCrory. The American Berlanga is an undefeated fighter with an impressive record who recently set a new knockout streak following his victory last night. This means Berlanga, who is the new mandatory fighter for Canelo, won't be an easy fight. We'll talk more about Berlanga's stats and his chances against Canelo later on in this video, but before that, let's focus on Berlanga's recent victory, because he just made a strong statement with the win and even called out the Mexican undisputed champion after the fight. Now, Berlanga had set his sights on Canelo even before he entered the ring to fight McCrory. The PBC was interested in an all-Mexican fight between Canelo and Jaime Munguia for Cinco de Mayo weekend. They even offered the boxing superstar a $35 million offer for him to accept this fight. The other fighter who seemed to be a top contender was Jermall Charlo, the current WBC lightweight champion. While there was no confirmation from either of these two, there was space for one more contender. Both Berlanga and Padraig McCrory were interested in this potential fight with Canelo, with the two stating that their fight could decide who could earn a mega fight against the undisputed super middleweight champion. Before the fight, Berlanga's promoter Eddie Hearn said this of a possible clash between his client and Canelo. He looks for a world championship, and with Canelo Alvarez currently without an opponent for May 4th, we put this man's name in the hat with an impressive performance on Saturday night. I'm calling it out now. Canelo doesn't have an opponent. If Berlanga wins in spectacular fashion, Mexico versus Puerto Rico on May 4th. Berlanga also used his pre-fight media duties to drum up interest in the Canelo clash. I got to really perform my A** off in this fight. I've got to make a statement, said Edgar Berlanga to Manuk Akopian's YouTube channel. I've got to do my thing in this fight and really look phenomenal, and I feel that right there should be an opener for a fight with Canelo in 2024. Berlanga's opponent, Padraig McCrory, responded to this by saying his life is one punch away from changing before the fight with Berlanga. He's the dream fight for everybody, the money fight, and that's what awaits me after this fight, said McCrory. They are trying to get him Berlanga ready for those big fights, and unfortunately, I'm a step too far. The pressure is all on him. I was never expected to get to where I am coming from where I did. It's unheard of to get to this stage. Berlanga surprised everyone and took away a convincing victory on Saturday night. He also ended up handing the Irishman his first defeat of his career. Berlanga ended up scoring a brutal 6th-round stoppage at the Caribe Royale Orlando in Florida on Saturday. The official time was 2:44. The Puerto Rican opened up with a series of punishing rights that took McCrory's legs away in the 6th. The Irishman was swaying all over the ring in a desperate bid to stay upright, but a big left hook to the body set up 2 more devastating rights that put McCrory over. Referee Christopher Young completed the 10 count as the white towel came in from the stricken fighter's corner. It feels amazing to get the knockout, said Berlanga during his post-fight interview with DAZN. I was losing sleep over this fight. People don't understand that Irish mother F ______S are strong, and he's undefeated, and he came to fight. People are intimidated by my power, so I didn't want to just be an offensive fighter. I'm learning how to put my defenses together, psych them out, and then start landing my punches. I was breaking him down little by little. Speaking of the fight, it was nothing less than entertaining. Berlanga threw next to nothing in the opening round, which McCrory picked up on work rate alone. This pedestrian pace continued into the second, and the packed crowd was already getting impatient. There was some nasty stuff on the inside in the third when Berlanga purposefully raked the Irishman with an elbow. This was a sign of frustration, although Berlanga did land some pulverizing power shots in this session. Finding his range, Berlanga took that momentum into the fourth, and his punches visibly shook McCrory. It was the same again in the fifth, and the Belfast man was doing a lot of complaining to the referee in relation to low blows, some of which was justified. The issue for Berlanga was there was no second phase of attack in the early going. He'd land one or two blows and then smother his follow-up assault or be dragged into a clinch. He needed to locate space and switch up the angles, which is precisely what he did in the sixth before lowering the boom. The knock on Berlanga was that his spectacular streak of 16 first-round knockouts ended as soon as he took a significant step up in class. While that may be true, he is a powerful hitter and deserves a shot at glory. A fight with Canelo would be perfect for the Puerto Rican. However, it all depends on whether Canelo will answer the call. He's mandatory now for Canelo's title. He's number 1 with the WBA, said matchroom promoter Eddie Hearn. It's only a matter of time. Canelo Alvarez is the greatest fighter in the sport. Berlanga wants to challenge himself against the greatest fighters. Puerto Rico against Mexico, that would be a huge event. Maybe there is one more fight for Berlanga. But if the call came, he wouldn't back down. He wouldn't run away and try to survive for 12 rounds. So, if Canelo doesn't fight Berlanga on May 4th, we could see Berlanga take on another fighter before he pushes for a showdown with Canelo for his belts. But who could it be? A lot of people reacted to Berlanga's victory over McCrory. David Morell, who could be a potential contender for Berlanga, gave a surprising reaction to the fight. His reaction to Berlanga's victory over Padraig McCrory was one of confident dismissal, suggesting that while he acknowledges Berlanga as a competent fighter, he personally views a potential matchup with Berlanga as an easy win for himself. Morell's comments, laced with a sense of assurance in his own boxing prowess, underline his belief that he is the superior fighter when compared to Berlanga. Morell described Berlanga's knockout victory as a performance against an opponent who was not on his level, implying that while Berlanga did secure a win, the victory did not significantly elevate his standing in Morell's eyes. The term "easy money" was used by Morell to encapsulate his perspective on a fight with Berlanga, indicating not only his confidence in winning such a bout, but also his belief that it would not pose a significant challenge to him. Furthermore, Morell expressed his readiness to face Berlanga, stating, "I'm ready," which showcases his willingness to prove his superiority in the ring. This readiness also reflects Morell's broader ambition in the boxing world, where he aims to establish himself as the best by taking on and defeating what he perceives as lesser competition. When asked about the possibility of facing Canelo Alvarez in the future, Morell remained open to the idea, suggesting that he is prepared for any challenge, including a bout with one of boxing's biggest names. This openness to fighting Canelo indicates Morell's confidence in his abilities and his desire to compete at the highest levels of the sport. Morell's reaction to Berlanga's victory and his subsequent comments highlight a boxer who is supremely confident in his skills and ready to take on all comers. By labeling a potential fight with Berlanga as easy money, Morell is throwing down the gauntlet, signaling his belief that he is a force to be reckoned with in the boxing world. His willingness to face Canelo Alvarez further underscores his ambition and confidence. Morell's comments post-Berlanga's victory serve as a bold statement of intent, showcasing his desire to dominate the boxing scene and take on any and all challengers.
I'm supposed to fight it, but it's my son, easy money. Easy money for me. I'm not going to easy money, bro. I tell you everybody, I tell you now, I tell you everybody.
Now, during his post-fight interview, Berlanga responded to Morell's call out. His response was measured and focused, indicating that while he acknowledges Morell's challenge, his sights are set on bigger opportunities within the boxing landscape. He expressed his desire to fight Canelo, indicating that Morell was not in his plans. Berlanga's reaction underscores his strategic approach to his career trajectory, prioritizing fights that align with his goals of facing top-tier opponents and advancing his position in the sport. When asked directly about the possibility of fighting David Morell, Berlanga expressed a clear preference for pursuing bigger things, hinting at his desire to secure more prominent and potentially more lucrative matchups. This response reflects Berlanga's ambition and his assessment of the boxing scene, where he seeks to maximize the impact of each fight on his career. The mention of being awarded the WBA #1 position for the title suggests that Berlanga is looking to leverage his current standing to aim for high-profile fights, possibly against marquee names like Canelo Alvarez or Jaime Munguia.
If you couldn't get Munguia, if you couldn't get Canelo, would you consider Morell for your next fight?
Nah, we on to something different right now. I know they gave us a WBA medal, #1.
Berlanga's focus on something different than a bout with Morell indicates a strategic choice to navigate his career path towards fights that offer greater visibility, prestige, and potential for advancement. This approach is not uncommon in boxing, where fighters and their teams carefully select opponents based on a variety of factors, including marketability, risk, and reward. American former pro boxer Gabriel Rosado also reacted to Berlanga's victory candid, and provided a candid assessment of Edgar Berlanga's performance and the prospect of a fight between him and Canelo Alvarez following Berlanga's victory. Rosado's insights reflect a seasoned boxer's perspective on the dynamics of matchmaking and the realities of boxing at the highest levels. Rosado acknowledged Berlanga's victory, but tempered his praise by noting that Padraig McCrory, Berlanga's opponent, was not on Berlanga's level, suggesting that while Berlanga looked good in his win, McCrory did not present the kind of challenge that would significantly elevate Berlanga's standing in the eyes of seasoned observers like himself. This viewpoint underscores Rosado's belief that victories against lesser-known or less challenging opponents do not necessarily translate to readiness for a boxer of Canelo's caliber. When directly addressing the question of whether Berlanga's performance earned him a shot at Canelo, Rosado expressed skepticism. He pointed out that other fighters, specifically mentioning Jaime Munguia and David Benavidez, are more deserving of a fight against Canelo due to their proven track records against world-class opposition. Rosado's comments reflect a common sentiment in boxing that opportunities for high-profile fights should be based on a fighter's resume and proven ability against top-tier opponents.
It is what it is. Berlanga did what he was supposed to do, but he ain't beat a world beater. He ain't beat a top 10 dude. You know what I'm saying? He beat a guy that came from Ireland that, he was game, but the boy ain't had no skills.
Rosado further critiqued Berlanga's claim to a fight against Canelo by suggesting that Berlanga has not yet faced or defeated the top 10 opponents, which would be a critical measure of his readiness for a boxer of Canelo's stature. This critique is rooted in the traditional boxing hierarchy, where fighters typically earn their way to title shots and marquee matchups through a series of progressively challenging fights against ranked contenders. Moreover, Rosado hinted at the complexities of boxing politics and matchmaking, suggesting that while Berlanga did what was expected of him against McCrory, the path to a fight against a superstar like Canelo involves navigating a landscape filled with other deserving contenders and proving oneself against the best in the division. Terence Crawford, who has also set his eyes on Canelo, also reacted to Berlanga's victory and took a dig at the winner of last night's bout. Crawford wrote in a now-deleted post on X, "At Edgar Berlanga, don't your coup peoples, but I think my brother at So-Called Nelson will smash him. It will be a good fight for both guys, too." Crawford probably isn't happy that Canelo now has another mandatory contender, and he will slowly lose his spot as one of the potential contenders for this fight. Many might not give Berlanga a chance against a star boxer like Caney. But what does this fight mean for the young New York boxer of Puerto Rican descent? Berlanga is a rising star in the super middleweight division and has captivated the boxing world with his remarkable power and impressive undefeated record. Known for his explosive start in professional boxing, Berlanga boasts a streak of 17 knockouts in his 22 fights so far, a feat that has drawn comparisons to some of the sport's most devastating punchers. This incredible run has not only established him as a formidable force within the division, but has also positioned him as a potential challenger to some of the biggest names in boxing, including the superstar Canelo Alvarez. Berlanga's knockout streak is a testament to his power and precision in the ring. Each victory has contributed to building his reputation, with several standout fights highlighting his potential. Early in his career, Berlanga demonstrated his knockout power against opponents who were often overmatched, but a necessary step in the development of a young fighter. As he progressed, the quality of his opposition improved, offering Berlanga the opportunity to showcase his skills against more experienced and resilient fighters. Despite the step up in competition, Berlanga's ability to end fights decisively remained undiminished, solidifying his status as one of the most exciting prospects in boxing. A potential fight with Canelo Alvarez represents a monumental step up in competition and a significant opportunity for Berlanga's career. Canelo, widely regarded as one of the best pound-for-pound fighters in the world, has faced and defeated a who's who of boxing's elite across multiple weight divisions. A matchup against Canelo would not only provide Berlanga with a chance to prove himself against the very best, but also offer him the opportunity to catapult his career to new heights. Facing Canelo Alvarez would be the ultimate test of Berlanga's abilities. While his knockout streak is impressive, Canelo's experience, skill set, and adaptability in the ring are on another level. Canelo has demonstrated time and again his capability to dismantle opponents with a combination of power, precision, and tactical acumen. For Berlanga, a fight against Canelo would require not just the power he has relied on in his career thus far, but also a strategic approach and the ability to adjust to the complexities of facing a boxer of Canelo's caliber. A victory over Canelo Alvarez would be a career-defining moment for Berlanga, instantly elevating his status to that of a boxing superstar. It would validate his knockout streak as not merely a function of carefully selected matchmaking, but as a genuine indicator of his place among the elite of the sport. Conversely, even a competitive performance in defeat could enhance Berlanga's reputation, demonstrating his readiness to compete at the highest level and setting the stage for future opportunities in a talent-rich super middleweight division. But how would a potential fight between Canelo and Berlanga go?
Risky, and I think guys like Malignaggi and Berlanga are high-level guys, but they're a little bit less risky than Benavidez and Morell, and I think Canelo will more so angle towards those guys, which again makes it interesting because those are guys that are on the zone, and they could probably fight each other. So,
Paulie Malignaggi recently shared his insights on Edgar Berlanga's performance against Padraig McCrory and the potential matchup between Berlanga and Canelo Alvarez, offering a nuanced perspective on what such a fight could entail. Malignaggi acknowledged Berlanga's return to his knockout ways as a positive step for his confidence and marketability, especially after a series of fights that went the distance, which had somewhat dimmed the early hype surrounding Berlanga's career. Malignaggi pointed out that while Berlanga's knockout of McCrory was impressive, there are areas of his game that could be improved. He noted Berlanga's tendency to throw every punch with maximum power, suggesting that incorporating more variety in his punching power and speed could make him more effective. Malignaggi also highlighted Berlanga's solid body attack, but critiqued his occasional lack of punch output, attributing it to Berlanga's focus on setting up big shots rather than letting his combinations flow more naturally. Regarding a potential fight with Canelo, Malignaggi expressed skepticism about Canelo's willingness to face the most elite fighters in the division, suggesting that Canelo might prefer to fight high-level but slightly less risky opponents. Malignaggi categorized Berlanga as a high-level contender who, while dangerous, might be seen as a less risky option for Canelo, compared to other top names in the division like David Benavidez and David Morell. Malignaggi also raised concerns about Berlanga's mental composure, referencing moments in Berlanga's career where he resorted to intentional fouls when frustrated. This behavior led Malignaggi to question whether Berlanga could maintain his composure against the elite level of competition represented by a fighter like Canelo. In terms of how a fight between Berlanga and Canelo might unfold, Malignaggi's analysis suggests that while Berlanga possesses the power and potential to make the fight interesting, his current approach and mental discipline might not be sufficient to overcome a boxer of Canelo's caliber. Canelo's experience, technical skill, and ability to adapt in the ring would pose significant challenges for Berlanga, who would need to show improved versatility and composure to compete effectively. Malignaggi's commentary underscores the intrigue surrounding a potential Berlanga versus Canelo fight. It would not only be a significant step up for Berlanga, but also an opportunity for him to prove his critics wrong by demonstrating growth in his boxing skills and mental toughness. For Canelo, facing a powerful puncher like Berlanga could provide another chance to solidify his status as one of the sport's best, capable of neutralizing the threat posed by one of boxing's most promising knockout artists. But what are your thoughts on a Canelo versus Edgar Berlanga fight? Do you think Canelo will accept an offer from Berlanga to fight on May 4th? Let us know in the comments. That's it for today. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Turn on the bell for the latest notifications so that you never miss out on videos like this. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.